Hello and welcome once again to this Red Gaming Tech video. Myself, Amato. As always, I'm here with the latest news from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. Today we're going to start things off with a little bit of news regarding the sales of the PlayStation 4. So, of course, it doesn't need to be said that the PlayStation 4 has been wildly successful for Sony. But now we know just how successful. They have released their latest earnings report and have basically told us that 3.2 million PS4s were sold between March 31st and June the 30th this year. And that means the total milestone for PS4 sold worldwide since it launched is now over 100 million. Because you may recall back in April, they reported that 96.8 million units had been sold. And also, we see an increase of the units sold versus the previous quarter. The number of unit sales is up by 600,000. What's kind of interesting, however, is that if you look at it versus the same quarter last year, it's actually identical. That also saw 3.2 million sales. And according to some comments from an analyst, Daniel Ahmad, from the senior analyst at Nico Partners, he's basically saying that the PS4 is now the fastest home console to reach 100 million units in sales. And just to make you all feel ancient, like you're ready for the old person's home, and I'm very much including myself in that, by the way. The PlayStation 4 is now almost 6 years old. 5 years and 7 months old to be precise, because it came out November 15th, 2013, and that just genuinely makes me feel ancient. Anywho, despite this good news for Sony, unsurprisingly we are seeing a slowing of the sales of the PlayStation 4, and Sony are lowering their expectations for the future for the fiscal year 2019, which is from April the 1st, 2019 to March 31st, 2020. They are predicting 15 million PS4s to be sold, which is 1 million fewer than it previously thought. So obviously that's a metric ton of PlayStation 4s being sold, but unsurprisingly we all know that the PlayStation 5 is coming out in 2020, and a lot of people are most likely just going to be waiting for that to come out. And even if you're not sort of clued in to the gaming news, you might have missed the PlayStation 5, because obviously it wasn't like a big announcement. It was that interview with Mark Cerny, and if you didn't view the Gaming Press, you might have not seen it. Regardless, you know, it's just coming to that point in its life where sales are starting to slow. When that many consoles being sold, you kind of reach a point where it's like, okay, it is going to start to sort of slowly go down and down and down until the next one comes out. So pretty much insane, to be quite honest with you. Over 100 million PlayStation 4s haven't been sold. One last thing, however, I just want to quickly touch on before I go on to my next topic, however, is that the earnings report also shows us that, surprisingly, digital downloads have now surpassed physical discs as a preferred method of buying games. And I do say surpass. It is a mild surpass. Like, you're just ahead of me sort of thing. Because we see 53% of owners purchasing games digitally. That surprises me primarily just due to how expensive digital games can be. And this isn't just for the PlayStation 4. It's on the Xbox One as well. Considering you're getting less, so you're not getting the disc. Obviously, you don't get manuals anymore, unfortunately. I do miss that. You are getting less, and they are quite expensive, and obviously refund policies and yada yada yada, and obviously you can't trade it in either. So it is a little bit surprising that we are seeing that there, but it is a small overtake for digital downloads. But I would not be surprised to see that number continue to rise as the internet gets more and more reliable, and of course the PlayStation 5 is going to have much more hard drive space as well. So let's move on to our next topic, which is kind of tangentially related to this one. It's actually regarding Doom 64 of all things. Now, you may recall just the other day I discussed how at QuakeCon Bethesda revealed that we would be seeing the Doom Classics come out on console, that being PS4, Xbox One and Switch, and by Doom Classics I mean Doom, Doom 2, and of course Doom 3 as well. And pretty much hot on the heels of that, Gematsu has spotted something rather interesting. They have spotted a PEGI rating for Doom 64 on the PlayStation 4 and the PC. And this is really, really cool if it's true, because this game has not been anywhere except the N64. Just to make you feel even older, it came out in 1997. So, is this legit? And to be honest, the answer is probably yes. Because there's several small little details that are on this particular listing. For example, ZeniMax/Bethesda are listed as the developer/publisher rather than the original publisher, which was of course Midway Games. And we also have a pretty much direct copy of the logline from the Nintendo 64 manual listed on the listing as well. It is kind of weird, I will say, that they didn't reveal this at QuakeCon. When else would they reveal this? Maybe at Gamescom? It's entirely possible that we will see a reveal at Gamescom. Maybe they recognise that this would be a bigger deal than the other 3 games. Don't get me wrong, it's brilliant that we're getting those 3 come out on console, as I've already said. But this is a bigger deal simply because it's never been anywhere except the N64. And I feel like this will go down very, very well indeed. So, of course, do take this with a pinch of salt until Bethesda or whoever officially announces it. You know, do take this as not confirmed. But it does look fairly likely. This looks pretty legit to me. But we have seen some convincing fakes in the past. So just have a little smidge of cynicism just there, just in case. But if this is true, awesome. Sign me up, my friends. So let's move on to some AMD news next. We've been talking an awful lot lately about the success of Ryzen 3000 ever since it came out just a couple of weeks ago. And you may recall that I discussed how AMD was doing very well for itself in terms of market share in Japan, amongst other places. They have definitely been clawing that market share away from Intel ever since, well, Ryzen was a thing, period, but Ryzen 3000 has seen that increase ever further. And now we have a very interesting report from PC Watch that basically says, according to their data which have been aggregated by BCN across leading retailers, AMD now holds 68.6% market share in Japan in terms of the DIY PC market. However, we do see less positive news in the pre-built PC market, as we do see the bulk of processor sales going to Intel here. And the lion's share of this particular market does go to Intel by a long margin, as AMD processors make 14.7% of this particular market. And we are seeing that increase, but their victory is very much in the DIY market. So it is just OEMs and pre-built PCs that are letting them down. But that's not to take anything away from their absolutely monstrous market share elsewhere in this particular market. So, speaking of Intel, let's move over to them, shall we, as we have something from Tiger Lake. Now, we do have a spotting on the UserBenchmark database, and we all know they're not in the, they're not in everyone's good graces at present, and for good reason. I'm more going to be focusing on the fact that this listing exists, rather than any rankings. And for those of you wondering what I'm talking about, go watch my previous video, and you'll see what I mean. However, we do have here a Tiger Lake 10nm CPU which has been spotted and benchmarked. I also want to say thanks to Kamachi on Twitter for spotting this, ever sharp-eyed as usual. So, according to the UserBenchmark entry, this is a Y-series chip, so this is an ultra-low power part designed for very compact devices such as ultrabooks. And reportedly, it is going to be featuring 4 cores, 8 threads with a 1.2 GHz base clock and a 2.9 GHz boost clock. Do keep in mind, however, that this is pretty early silicon, so... Oh, and just to remind you, while Ice Lake is going to be Generation 11 in terms of the graphics, Tiger Lake is going to be Generation 12, so this is going to be quite a ways off indeed before it actually comes out. So all in all, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed what we see in the future from both AMD and Intel. Of course, we have been talking a lot, and I do mean a lot, about the 5700 series, and we're going to be seeing other cards in the 5000 series family, and of course there's Ryzen chips on the horizon, and of course Intel have got, Ice Lake and Tiger Lake and Comet Lake. They love their lakes, what can I say? So it is definitely going to be interesting. AMD have steadily been just clawing away that market share. They have pretty much been rightfully crowned as the comeback kings, and they have very much earned that title, I think. The Ryzen comeback has been really just incredible to watch, and of course Intel are still in the lead in some areas, but we're seeing competition, and we're seeing Intel having to innovate and improve. They did kind of, I don't want to say stagnate because that's not fair, but they didn't innovate as much as they have, as perhaps they could have, because, well, they didn't really need to. I've said before, competition breeds innovation. When the competitor is breathing down your neck, you're going to go, oh, get back button gear, guys, and actually, fight for my position here, and it just benefits us as consumers, as I've said many times, and probably will continue to do so until you're all sick of me saying it. Anyway, that's me done for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, your support is highly appreciated. Do remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Just help out a great deal, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.